Let's begin by tracing the sequence of events leading up to the shocking allegations. The incident centers around a coffee meetup between Justin Banta and his pregnant girlfriend in Benbrook, Texas. Could you walk us through what reportedly happened that day?
Absolutely. According to investigators, the woman met Banta at a local coffee shop to discuss her pregnancy after he had previously encouraged her to consider abortion. Unbeknownst to her, Banta allegedly spiked her drink with abortion pills, which led to a miscarriage just days later.
That moment at the coffee shop seems to be the critical turning point. The subsequent events, from her sudden illness to the hospital visit, unfolded rapidly. How did law enforcement become involved so quickly?
The woman sought emergency care the very next morning after falling ill, where medical staff warned her of an impending miscarriage. She then reported the incident to authorities, sparking a multi-jurisdictional investigation involving the Parker County Sheriff's Office and Texas Rangers.
Moving from the timeline, let's examine the relationship dynamics. The couple had only been dating for about a month before the pregnancy. What insights do we have into their interactions and Banta's state of mind?
From court documents, it appears Banta pressured his girlfriend to abort, even offering to procure medication himself. Yet, she was clear about wanting to keep the baby. This tension between her autonomy and his attempts to control the outcome set the stage for the tragic events.
It's striking how the conflict escalated from disagreement to alleged criminal action. Are there any comparable cases where relationship pressures led to such drastic steps?
Sadly, yes. The CDC notes that reproductive coercion, where partners sabotage pregnancies or force unwanted outcomes, is more common than many realize. However, cases escalating to alleged poisoning and homicide charges remain rare and deeply alarming.
Now, let's pivot to the technological aspects. Banta, an IT professional at the Department of Justice, allegedly used the internet to buy abortion medication. What does this suggest about the intersection of digital tools and criminal activity?
It's a stark illustration of how technology can be misused. Online pharmacies and encrypted communications make it easier to acquire controlled substances with minimal oversight. Investigators reportedly tracked his purchases via phone records and digital receipts, underscoring the digital paper trail most people leave behind.
Given Banta's IT background, how might he have tried to cover his tracks?
The case mentions remote phone wiping, a sophisticated move. Forensic teams must now work harder to recover deleted data, often relying on backups, cloud storage, or third-party app logs. It's a technological arms race between suspects and investigators.
Turning to the legal dimension, Banta faces capital murder and evidence tampering charges. What elevates this case to such a serious level under Texas law?
Texas treats the intentional termination of a pregnancy without the mother's consent as homicide, especially if it results in fetal death. The capital charge arises when such acts are premeditated. The tampering charge likely stems from attempts to delete digital evidence.
Can you compare this to how similar cases are charged in other states?
Definitely. Some states have fetal homicide laws, but Texas is among the strictest. In others, such incidents might result in lesser charges, like assault or manslaughter, depending on intent and outcome.
The investigation itself spanned 8 months, involving multiple agencies. What methods did investigators use to build their case?
They relied on a blend of traditional and digital forensics, interviews, surveillance footage from the coffee shop, receipts for both the medication and the drinks, and possibly even forensic analysis of the coffee cup for drug residues.
How crucial is corroborating evidence in a case hinging on one person's account?
It's absolutely vital. Prosecutors need tangible proof like toxicology reports or video evidence to substantiate the victim's testimony. Without corroboration, reasonable doubt could undermine the entire prosecution.
Let's delve into the medical side. Detecting a drug-induced miscarriage must be complex. How do doctors determine whether a miscarriage was natural or triggered by medication?
Doctors look for telltale signs, specific compounds in blood or urine or drug metabolites. However, if too much time passes, these traces may vanish. The timing of hospital admission and lab tests is critical, much like piecing together a chemical puzzle.
Is there precedent for using such medical evidence in court?
Yes, courts have accepted toxicology reports in similar cases, but defense attorneys often challenge the chain of custody or the interpretation of results. Medical forensics can be powerful, but they're rarely absolute.
This case raises deep ethical questions about bodily autonomy and consent. How do such cases shape the ongoing debate over reproductive rights?
They force society to confront uncomfortable truths. Here, the woman's right to choose was violently overridden. It's the inverse of debates about abortion access highlighting the need for robust protections for both autonomy and informed consent.
Could this incident influence future policy or legal standards?
Potentially, yes. Lawmakers may respond by tightening regulations on abortion-inducing drugs or enhancing penalties for reproductive coercion. Each case like this adds a new layer to the evolving legal landscape.
Media coverage has been intense, with headlines nationwide. How does the framing of this story affect public perception and potentially the legal process?
Media narratives can shape juror attitudes and even policy debates. Sensational headlines elicit outrage, but can also introduce bias, making it harder to ensure a fair trial. Balanced reporting is crucial, yet often elusive in high-profile cases.
Are there historical parallels where media attention influenced case outcomes?
Absolutely. The Casey Anthony and Scott Peterson trials come to mind, where round-the-clock coverage arguably swayed public and, perhaps, juror opinion. In this case, the intersection of crime and reproductive politics is especially combustible.
Stepping back, what does this incident tell us about trust and safety within intimate relationships and society at large?
It underscores the fragility of trust, especially when personal autonomy is threatened. Studies show reproductive coercion affects up to 8% of women in the U.S. Publicizing such cases may prompt others to recognize warning signs and seek help sooner.
Could this case have a deterrent effect, or might it foster more fear and suspicion?
A bit of both. While awareness can empower, it can also breed mistrust. The challenge is fostering open dialogue and robust support systems without amplifying anxiety unnecessarily.
As we look ahead, what are the next legal milestones for this case, and what broader implications might arise from its outcome?
The case will likely proceed through pre-trial motions, with significant focus on admissibility of digital and forensic evidence. Its resolution could set precedents for how reproductive coercion is prosecuted, either reinforcing existing laws or prompting reform.
In closing, what lessons should listeners take away from this tragic saga?
First, the importance of consent and honest communication in relationships. Second, the need for vigilance in how technology is used or misused. And finally, a reminder that the law is continually evolving to address new ethical and social challenges.